Guys, it was a big day in politics because today was Super Tuesday. Both Biden and Trump won the most delegates tonight, but they aren't very popular, which is why poll sites were handing out stickers that said, "I reluctantly voted."
Oh, I reluctantly voted. I said because it's got Joe Biden falling down flights of stairs. And what is his new campaign approach is to try to annoy Donald Trump. That's their plan. It's as good as it gets for the Democrats. Trust me, you guys are annoying a lot of people, not just Donald Trump. You're not annoying certain socialist dictator in Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. He's very appreciative of Joe Biden and the Biden administration. The Venezuelan gang leaders, very pleased with Joe Biden. MS-13, very happy about Joe Biden. You know they're voting for Joe Biden. But happy post-Super Tuesday. We call it Magnificent Wednesday. It's Magnificent Wednesday. President Trump, of course, dominated yesterday. And among dim-witted Democrats, Joe Biden actually dominated too. It's kind of remarkable. Now, there's a fun story out of American Samoa, and I want to go to American Samoa because of what happened in American Samoa yesterday in the Democrat primary. It's a lot of fun. You should know that the things that we Americans care about the most, according to all the polls, the economy we care about most, and inflation, because everything costs more, and then the Democrats lie to us and tell us, no, everything costs less, because they believe that their information dominance has reached a point where they can just tell us to shut up and not to believe our lying eyes. They'll tell us what to believe. It's like that. So the economy and inflation, top of mind for American voters. Immigration. When they say immigration, what they're really talking about is illegal aliens murdering people and raping girls, and gangs marauding all over the country that the Democrat Party invited in. And then I only learned last night when President Trump talked about it at Mar-a-Lago, that the Biden administration has secretly flown now hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens into the country. They're not deporting hundreds of thousands of people with airplanes. They are rubber stamping illegal aliens, putting them on airplanes in foreign countries, many of which are beep-hole countries, and flying them into the United States to, 43 different cities. The Democrats, their secret midnight program to smuggle in hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens, and 60 Minutes and the New York Times don't care. They'd shout you down if you brought it up at the dinner table. Remarkable stuff. So what do we care about most? The economy and inflation, number one, 37%. Illegal immigration, everybody just says immigration. Nobody's upset about immigration. It's that the Democrats have blown up the country and our border and our way of life and our sovereignty and our border because they're not on our side. It's the fundamental transformation of America. And it's why Barack Obama told us we all better teach our kids to speak Spanish because Obama had a plan and it's being executed now. Next on our list of concerns, now again, 37% the economy and inflation, 21% illegal aliens and the gangs and the murders and the rapes and everything else. 10% abortion, because Democrats really, really love abortion. It's amazing. I saw France. I think I have that story in my story sheet, don't I? France. They took action on abortion because they're French, and they don't bathe very frequently. They're French people. Some of them make good food, but that's about it. And the French, they've done something crazy. Becomes the first country to enshrine abortion. They're enshrining abortion rights into their constitution. But here's the thing about this. It's kind of fun. I've talked about France and their laws on abortion. The Democrats care very deeply, very, very deeply about it. They want to make sure they don't have grandkids if they already have kids. But France became the first country, which is, I guess, kind of surprising, to enshrine, funny word, abortion in their constitution. And when they did so, they set limits. You know, the Democrats, they don't like the idea of limits because they're drug addicts. I think, are they all drug addicts, Michael? I think most of them are drug addicts. So they enshrined it, as they say, in their constitution, setting a 14-week limit. A 14-week, that's 3 months plus 2 weeks. A 14-week limit, and that's in their constitution. And in doing so, they went from 12 weeks, which is 3 months, to 14 weeks. Because, and here's the funny thing, they made this change to the Constitution in French. They amended their Constitution to enshrine abortion. Pretty remarkable stuff. They had a vote. They have 925 legislators, 780 voted in favor, 72 voted against the amendment to change the Constitution. And France legalized abortion in 1974, but limited abortion to 12 weeks. Now, the Democrats would call that a ban. It wouldn't be a ban, but never mind that. So in 2022, France increased the legal limit, and this is kind of crazy, the legal limit for abortion from 12 weeks to 14 weeks. They did that in response, they say, to the Supreme Court in the United States overturning Roe versus Wade. The United States has great outsized influence all over the world, and pretty crazy stuff. It's the 20th Amendment to their Constitution. They adopted their Constitution in 1958. We had to drive out the Socialist Workers' Party and get them back on their feet again. You're welcome, France. But let's get back to this other, because that's what Democrats care so much about. They care about abortion very deeply. Now, Virginia yesterday, Super Tuesday, which was the Democrats like, oh no, it's going Democrat, and it's da-da-da. And parts of it are, that's why they have like criminals as the county attorneys in Loudoun County, destroying the history of the state. She should be in leg shackles. But Donald Trump beat Nikki Haley 63.1% to 34.8% in the Commonwealth of Virginia yesterday. And that's 436,000 votes for Donald Trump, 240,000 votes for Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is now actually talking to the cameras. We'll share some of it with you shortly. She's talking to the cameras, announcing that she is suspending her campaign. Her campaign is over for president. She's announced she's not endorsing Donald Trump. Maybe she'll run under no labels or something and become universally unpopular in America forever for the rest of her life, which is what would happen. But never mind all that. There was a funny thing in Minnesota for Joe Biden. In Minnesota, the radical extremists, who is Rashida Tlaib and the other radical pro-jihad anti-Semites in the Democrat Party, proud anti-Semites, they told people to vote uncommitted in the Democrat primary there yesterday. And it turns out that 70% of the Democrats in Minnesota voted for Joe Biden. 171,000 people. 70.6% voted for Joe Biden in Minnesota of Democrats in the Democrat primary. But 18.9% voted for uncommitted. Voted for uncommitted. Isn't that remarkable? Yes, it is. Quite remarkable stuff. And who was it? It was North Carolina, also in the Democrat primary. 87% voted for Joe Biden of Democrats in the Democrat primary in North Carolina. 12.7% voted for no preference. So they showed up on Election Day, waited in line, drove, parked, got out of the house, left work to go vote in North Carolina. And 88,021 Democrats in North Carolina voted no preference rather than voting for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is terrible. Also, my favorite one is American Samoa. American Samoa, the Democrat candidate, Palmer. Everybody know Palmer? You know Palmer? Because Palmer, he's a wingo. He was running for president. He got on 6 state ballots, apparently. I think one of them is American Samoa, not a state, but that's okay. Jason Palmer won the Democrat primary in American Samoa with 56% of the vote. Now, listen to this. Now, Jason Palmer lives in Baltimore. He has, according to reports, never been to American Samoa in the Pacific Ocean. And he got 56% of the vote. Joe Biden got 44% of the vote. So Jason Palmer won the Democrat primary in American Samoa.
We just have a call now. In American Samoa, President Biden will lose to Jason Palmer, a self-described entrepreneur and investor. He is going to win the American Samoa Democratic Caucus. This marks President Biden's first loss in the 2024 primaries. Palmer takes 4 delegates. President Biden takes 2. We saw uncommitted with more than 100,000 votes in Michigan. I don't even know who Jason Palmer is.
Well, almost nobody does, but he seems like a fun guy. He's been a corporate exec, and if he weren't a Democrat, he'd be more fun. But listen to this. This is my favorite part. In American Samoa, the Democrat caucuses, primary day, Super Tuesday, a total of 91 people voted. 91 people voted, and Jason Palmer got 51 votes. That's 56% of the total vote. Joe Biden got 40 votes in American Samoa. That's 44% of the total vote of 91 people voting in American Samoa. I want to hang with these people. These people sound like fun. I also, as I understand it, American Samoa voted for Michael Bloomberg last time around in the Democrat primary because they figure, what the hell, we're American Samoa. Let's have a party. I'm guessing that they're having fun because why not? Right? Jason Palmer, American hero. Yeah, and again, in North Carolina, 12%, 88,000 people, more than 88,000 people voted no preference when the choice was Joe Biden or no preference. And in Minnesota, 45,000 people voted uncommitted. And you heard Brett Baer, Fox News, talking about the number of people was more than 100,000 people in Michigan. Democrats voted uncommitted as well because Joe Biden. Now, Donald Trump has 995 delegates. You need 1,215 to become the nominee. Nikki Haley dropping out of the race today at long last with a total of 89 delegates. And she says she's not endorsing anybody at this point. So we've got that going for us. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Okay, where are we now? Let's look at the thing. Let's go to, let's take a telephone call. I've got President Trump coming up for you. Lots of audio of President Trump from Mar-a-Lago and the news media responding in the way that they usually respond, which is soon to be, I think, self-immolation. Remember, my friend Marty was texting me yesterday that he was watching YouTube 2016 election night again, which is funnier than reruns of Seinfeld. It's great. Let's go to Bob calling from Fairfax County, Virginia. Oh, Bob, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, I'm watching intently last night, and a lot of people, our magic friends, talking heads on Fox News and others, missed a key point. You add up all of the Trump votes, all the Republican votes for president. You add up all of the Democrat votes for president in Virginia, North Carolina, and Texas. Republicans came out virtually 2-1, 3-1 against Democrats.
The turnout. You're talking about the turnout.
The turnout. The enthusiasm among Republicans was dramatically higher than with Democrats. Now, I just watched those 3 states. Here's another data point. I'm in the little precinct where I voted at 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon in Fairfax County, Northern Virginia area. 60% were for the Republicans, 40% were Democrat votes in that little precinct in Kingstown area, just outside the Beltway. Another data point. I'm sitting there doing my vote thing, and all of a sudden, everybody, there's three precincts where people came to vote in this one facility in a school.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, everybody starts clapping and hoo-ha. And I turned into, what was that all about? First-time voter. Guess who the first-time voter was with a Republican vote in their hand. A young lady around 20 years old who was black voting Republican. Made my day.
Well, as it should be. That is a great story. Why black people would continue to vote for the Confederacy and Jim Crow, it's the propaganda. It's that they're exposed to on a daily basis, hourly basis. But that is a good story. 20-year-old African-American woman voting Republican, getting an ovation because it's her first time voting, which is kind of an American tradition. You show up, hey, it's her first time voting. That's great. And voting Republican, that is very good news. This country has to be saved before the Democrats completely sink us. Like that ship that the Houthis sunk off of Yemen. Bob, thank you for the call. Great call. Good stuff. He's collecting data points, too. People are paying attention. Thank you, Bob. Hey, it's Chris Plant. Excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. Yeah, I love American Samoa. In 2020, the Democrats also voted for Michael Bloomberg and not Joe Biden. This year, they voted for Jason Palmer. All 91 people that voted in the caucuses instead of Joe Biden. I want to go there on vacation now. All right, let's. I got to tell you, let's take a call, and then I'm going to get to President Trump. We have some Nikki Haley for you too, but doesn't mean much. Let's go to Mike calling from South Riding, Virginia. Michael, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hi, Chris. Good morning.
Hey, Mike.
Hi. I don't want to play a Republican consultant here because, one, I care about winning and not getting paid. Trump, if they said Biden's new strategy now, because Trump is obviously going to be the nominee, hopefully, is to attack Trump, make him go off the rails, call him names, blah, blah, blah. And if Trump can stay disciplined, stay on message, talk about the problems and how he's going to fix them, that is going to make Biden just stand out. And people are going to go, Trump's talking about fixing problems, and you're calling, all you're doing is calling Trump names. How are you going to fix the problems? And Biden is going to stumble, mumble, and bumble his way through trying to answer questions. And it's just going to become so evident that I can't see how anybody would vote for Biden. Although, given the 2020 election, which I believe was stolen, I told my wife the other day, I said, you know what? Biden could get no votes. Literally no one could show up at the polls to vote for Biden, and he'd still beat Trump by 10 million votes.
It is a concern, to be sure. All right, I think we're gonna start out by ignoring Nikki Haley appropriately. She won Vermont yesterday, an open primary where Bernie Sanders voters could come in to vote against Donald Trump, and I'm not very impressed by Nikki Haley winning an open primary in Vermont. And she won Washington, D.C., where I live and where I vote. I voted for Donald Trump, as you might expect, and I did something. I took a picture of my ballot in the polling place after I wrote in colored in the dot on the Donald Trump thing. And it's kind of funny. I walked over to the machine. Looks like a printer, right, to slip your ballot in, and it wouldn't accept my ballot. And I'm like, what's with that? And it turns out I had two ballots stuck together. It's like full page, kind of almost cardboardy. And it was handed to me that way. I didn't, you can't just go pick up a stack. It was handed to me that way. And I filled one out and said, hey, wait a minute, it won't take it. It won't feed properly. And it turned out there was one stuck to my thing. It had not been filled out. And they put it back in the stack, even though it was sticky, I think, but that's okay. Did that. And I took a picture of it. And then somebody later in the day said, oh, it's illegal to take a picture of your ballot in the polling place. And So, oh, no, the FBI is going to raid my house. And a pre-dawn raid, battering ram, rifles drawn, all that stuff. So I looked it up on Al Gore's amazing internet piece, be upon him. And it turns out it's not illegal to photograph your ballot. You can't photograph other people in the polling place or their ballots because that's considered to be impolite. But you can photograph your own ballot after you fill in the little thing, the dot. Now, yeah, so that was a load off my mind. Hey, wait, what? I did something illegal? I took a picture of my ballot in the polling place? And I looked it up last night just to be thorough because you want to be sure. These days, the FBI parachuting in, batting your grandmother to the ground with rifle butts and things because, criminals and thieves run free. But never mind that. Let's go to President Trump because after it was pretty clear that he was going to sweep, and again, Vermont slipped, but that's okay. Because there are tricks there. But Donald Trump came to the podium at Mar-a-Lago in a room filled with people. The reports I saw last night said there was no open bar at the grand ballroom at Mar-a-Lago. While the celebration was going on, Donald Trump, of course, doesn't drink and never drank. But other people do. Come on, try to be considerate. They said there was no open bar. That means that was a cash bar? Or you had to bring your own flask, or what the thing was. Sorry, getting Irish on you. But let's go to President Trump came to the podium, surrounded by large and beautiful American flags with gold trim and very nice. And he was good. He went on a couple of things that the lefties are attacking him for. We got some media response to it. But President Trump last night at Mar-a-Lago, when it was clear that he was having a very, very good night.
They call it Super Tuesday for a reason. This is a big one. And they tell me, the pundits and otherwise, that there's never been one like this. There's never been anything so conclusive. This was an amazing night, an amazing day. It's been an incredible period of time in our country's history. It's been sad in so many ways, but I think it's going to be inspiring because we're going to do something that, frankly, nobody's been able to do for a long time.
It's never been anything like it. Nobody's been able to do it a long time, and it's basically true, too. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, where the Democrats were hoping that Nikki Haley might show up big, she did get 34.8% of the Republican primary vote in Virginia. Donald Trump, 63.1%. That is a landslide vote by any measure. And, it matters. Donald Trump has won Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, California. He won last night. Colorado, Idaho, Indiana, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, New York, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, all in President Trump's column thus far, with a total of 995 delegates in his column. You need 1,215 to win the Republican nomination. Fascinating. And President Trump at Mar-a-Lago last night. This is a big one, and I knew nothing about this. And he talked about the Biden administration secretly smuggling hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens into the country by airplane from beep hole countries around the world, and they won't tell us from where because they think they don't work for us. They think that we work for them. President Trump.
Today it was announced that 325,000 people were flown in from parts unknown. Migrants were flown in airplane, not going through borders, not going through that great Texas barrier that I was with the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, the other day, and we were looking at the job they're doing. But in the meantime, they're pouring into California and they're pouring into Arizona because those governors aren't doing anything. They're doing nothing.
Now, that's an extraordinary story. And I had to read up on it because I will confess I didn't know anything about this. secret mission smuggling hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens in by flying them in over our border. That is a dangerous administration. They are running a criminal enterprise. They are human traffickers. They are smuggling hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens into the United States. The Center for Immigration Studies, which has been filing Freedom of Information Act requests on this and getting the dirt on getting the truth. The New York Times, no. 60 Minutes, no. CNN, the Washington Post, no. Government admission, Center for Immigration Studies. Biden parole flights, they're called parole flights, create security vulnerabilities at U.S. airports. Department of Homeland Security won't say which airports are receiving inadmissible aliens from abroad. Amazing. Todd Bensman, Center for Immigration Studies. On the story, thanks to an ongoing Center for Immigration Studies Freedom of Information Act lawsuit, the public now knows that U.S. Customs Border Protection has approved secretive flights that last year alone ferried hundreds of thousands of inadmissible aliens from foreign airports into some 43 American airports over the past year, and the past year alone, all pre-approved on a cell phone app. Just amazing. The Biden administration's legally dubious program to fly inadmissible aliens over the border and directly to U.S. airports has allegedly created law enforcement vulnerabilities too grave to release publicly. This is an absolutely extraordinary story, and people should be in handcuffs. They're running a human trafficking criminal enterprise. They are breaking U.S. law, the federal government under Joe Biden. Just amazing. While the large immigrant receiving cities and the media lay blame for the influx of illegal aliens to their cities on Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott's busing program. The Democrats, they like busing. Remember, Joe Biden didn't like busing because he didn't want his kids going to school in a racial jungle. That's what he said. Racial integration in schools. Customs and Border Protection has withheld from the Center for Immigration Studies and apparently will not disclose the names of the 43 U.S. airports that have received 320,000 inadmissible illegal aliens from January through December of 2023, nor will they reveal the foreign airports from which they departed. The agency's lawyers have cited a general law enforcement exception without elaborating. It's a law enforcement exception. We're dictators, and the law doesn't apply to us because we're in charge. People should be in handcuffs. But that's your Democrat Party today. That's Joe Biden. And that's Barack Obama. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, Michelle Obama's people, she has people, multiple mansions all over the place. But Michelle Obama's people are promising again that she's not running for president. Michelle Obama's office says the former First Lady, quote, will not be running for president, end quote. Well, she doesn't have to. She can just stand for president. And the Democrats will see what they can do to just give it to her so that Barack Obama can have a fourth term, because he's not done with the fundamental transformation of America that he promised. And he warned us we've all got to teach our kids to learn to speak Spanish because the Democrats have a plan. President Trump on the Democrats, the Biden administration's human trafficking. How many of them are children? Because they're trafficking children, they're trafficking illegals. They're the best thing that ever happened to the Mexican drug cartels. 100,000 dead Americans every year from fatal drug overdoses. Not enough for the Democrat Party, for Joe Biden and Barack Obama. I did hear through the grapevine that Barack Obama's older daughter is now involved with drugs. Drugs. Donald Trump last night at Mar-a-Lago on the Biden administration's illegal human trafficking operation.
They flew 325,000 migrants, flew them in over the borders into our country. So that really tells you where they're coming from. They want open borders, and open borders are going to destroy our country. We need borders and we need free and fair elections, or we don't have a country.
That's true. You have corrupt elections like in Russia and Venezuela and all of that good stuff. President Trump last night.
It's sad to see what's happening to our cities. Our cities are being overrun with migrant crime, and that's Biden migrant crime. But it's a new category of crime, and it's violent, where they'll stand in the middle of a street and have fistfights with police officers, and if they did that in their countries from where they came, they'd be killed instantly.
Now, when I heard him say that, I sort of laughed and I said, I know MSDNC and CNN are going to bring on people to attack him for that. And so I did a quick bit of research, which is what I do. And I found stories out of Venezuela where they emptied the prisons and sent the gangs here. And here it is from 2021. Venezuela battles between police and gangs in Caracas leave 26 dead. 26 dead. And it turns out there was this gunfight, and they seized 24,000 rounds of ammunition from the gangs, and 2 police were killed, and 24 gang members were killed. The amazing stuff. The Reuters news agency from 2021. The government is losing ground, is the headline. Residents say as gangs take territory in Venezuela's capital. Also because we've had murderers all over the country from Brazil, including the mass murderer that murdered 11 people captured in New Hampshire, was convicted of 11 murders, a massacre in Brazil. Then he escaped and came to the United States and was arrested here. I grabbed another one. Brazil violence, at least 19 killed in police raid on Rio Favela, a ghetto neighborhood in Brazil. 19 people killed during a raid. Gang controls this part of Rio de Janeiro, the violent favelas. So President Trump said that, and I said, well, I know that to be true because I follow the news, but I know that our fake media will lie about it. President Trump last night.
We have a country that a political person uses weaponization against his political opponent. Never happened here. It happens in other countries, but they're third world countries. And in some ways, we're a third world country. We're a third world country at our borders, and we're a third world country at our elections. And we have to stop that. We need a fair and free press. The press has not been fair, nor has it been free, but maybe someday they will be. They're being beaten up pretty badly. People aren't trusting them. They're not believing them.
Everything he says is true. I talk about the third worlding of America. I've been talking about it for years. It is the left's project to destroy America. That's a multi-pronged effort to destroy America. School, children, transgender, twerking, drugs, gangs from Venezuela, open borders, lose the English language. Education is shot.
We have millions of people invading our country. This is an invasion. This is the worst invasion probably. We've never had anything like it. No country has ever had anything like it. The number today could be 15 million people. And they're coming from rough places and dangerous places. And we had that shut down. We had everything going so beautifully. When Joe Biden goes to the beach, because somebody on his staff thinks he looks very good in a bathing suit, until he can't get his feet out of the sand or lift the chair, which weighs about 9 ounces.
The left hates it when he makes fun of people. They make fun of everybody all day long. They hate it when they mocked what's good for the goose and all of that. President Trump last night, what are you going to do when you win?
We're going to straighten it out. We're going to close our borders. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get the inflation down. And we are going to make our country greater than ever before, and we're going to do it quickly. We're going to do it quickly.
There was a moment after the Trump speech last night where Dana Perino, I want to give her credit for it because it wasn't my idea, so I wouldn't steal it like so many people in this town do. But Dana Perino with one little piece of advice for President Trump last night, and I think it was a good piece of advice. I want to share that coming up. Yeah, we also have the mailbag today. It's Wednesday. It's hump day in the Clinton household. Hillary waking up face down in a pool of her own dried vomit. And it's mailbag day, which is better than the, pool of Hillary's dried vomit in her face and all that. So let's go to the phones, Michael. When we come back, we have much more. And the mailbag, because it's mailbag day, Wednesday, here on the Chris Plant Show. Let's go to Michael calling from Woodbridge, Virginia. Michael, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yeah, Chris, I got to tell you, this story with the 300,000 that were flying in, that means we're talking about people, I can't get on an airplane without a real ID. These people are using a court appearance document as ID.
Well, this is, wait a minute. This is worse than that. They're doing that, too, with the illegals that walk across our border. These are people that don't even have that.
You used the term. Well, no, you used the term that I hadn't heard before. Inadmissible alien.
Right.
Illegal alien tends to mean you just didn't go through the process. You cut line. You took a shortcut. Inadmissible implies to me that you probably couldn't get in line. You literally would not be allowed to ask permission to come into the country, and so my government put you on an airplane and flew you in and airdropped you into Dallas or Los Angeles or Chicago or wherever the hell they airdropped you into in a way that if any other country did this to me in my country, I would see it as a threat. I would see it as a threat of violence. I would see it as criminal behavior. And what scares me about this, Chris, we've now hit a new level where 300,000 times a gate guard, a security officer, a sheriff's deputy, a U.S. Marshal met this criminal at an airplane and said, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, and has been compromised. This sounds impeachable to me, too.